Today in the crypto space, we've seen a little bit of green price action to the upside. Bitcoin up approximately 4%, hitting that $45,400 mark, and Ethereum taking a bit of a break after a nice green pop to the upside at around 2,500. The rest of the crypto space, the altcoins, are pretty much doing pretty good. Solana looking good, Cardano up approximately 7%, finally getting some green price action, Stacks, and many others. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market, and I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator. But more importantly, I want to talk about one altcoin that is quietly at the bottom of the range, waiting for some momentum, and that project is called Kava. So you know what, let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome on the channel. We talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of that volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's begin by looking at the top 100. Then we'll take a look at Bitcoin just as a leading indicator to give us an idea where this market is heading. And then, of course, today's video, we're going to be focusing on Kava to see what kind of entry we could get here, given the fact that it is at the bottom of the range at a good level of horizontal support. All right, let's begin. Bitcoin getting a nice pop to the upside, guys. It is showing strength, no doubt. Strength for Bitcoin is good for the market as a whole. However, if you're expecting the altcoins to do well, we want Ethereum to continue showing strength. Now, it is taking a bit of a break here. It's kind of going sideways while Bitcoin gets into the driver's seat. Totally fine, acceptable. Let Bitcoin do its thing. I honestly feel that Bitcoin could be in a distribution phase, but nonetheless here, guys, let's see what happens. I'll be looking at the Bitcoin chart shortly, but really what I'm focusing on here on the channel is altcoins. I'm looking for those low caps. I'm looking for those opportunities at the bottom of the range, and you can see that right now some of these altcoins are definitely waking up. Look at BNB's up. Solana got a nice bounce to the upside after its coffee break, up 5%, looking pretty good. And then we have Cardano finally getting some green price action to the upside. Guys, I am, in the stance of, that I'm already scaled into a lot of my large caps. I've already scaled into the large caps a while back, and I've been holding my bags really earlier on in anticipation that ultimately I wanted to focus on the smaller caps. So I got, my bags filled on the large caps like Cardano, Avalanche, Solana, I got in early, Ethereum, even some Bitcoin. And ultimately, right now, it's about focusing on the volatility that's yet to come. Given the fact that we could be in an altcoin season coming around the corner, Bitcoin halving is around the corner as the catalyst for the bull run could be. But really, the real gainers are in the altcoins. So that's why I kind of got my positions done and over with earlier on Cardano. So I'm happy to see finally my portfolios, my bags are finally waking up here, given that my Cardano bag is pretty full. What else do we have here? Chainlink going sideways in the last little while. It is down 2%, but still within structure. Nothing really to worry about unless it starts breaking those previous lows. And even still, guys, even if you get a bit of a breather on Chainlink, it's okay. It's been doing pretty good. It's up 7% for the week, so it's still decent. Matic getting a bit of strength to the upside, still okay, got a nice pop based on the Ethereum move to the upside, but it could be going sideways and taking that break based on Ethereum. If we keep on going down, you can see a lot of these altcoins are in the green. SHIB is doing pretty good. We have Bitcoin Cash. I believe that anything related to the Bitcoin narrative at the current moment should be showing strength. So the question is, are ordinals also doing well? So we can take a look at that. Uniswap going sideways, Cosmos getting a nice pop to the upside, Celestia still grinding to the upside. Guys, I'm not really interested in Celestia, Tia at the moment. Sui also, Say also. A lot of these projects that already ran up very with a lot of strength, essentially, I am going to be waiting patiently for the correction, right? So I'm not interested in becoming exit liquidity, although I like the projects. They're bullish, they're great. I'm bullish on them. But from a price action perspective, when a project goes up significantly, the likelihood of a retracement eventually is high, because of the fact is that people that bought in early are going to be looking for profit taking opportunities regardless. So for short-term dips, I'll be ready to accumulate. As of now, Tia, Sui, these are the projects that I'm kind of letting simmer, and when we do come down to those lower levels, expect an update here on the channel. But for now, I'm not willing to become exit liquidity. Let's move on. Near protocol getting a nice pop to the upside. I like the way Near is looking. You guys know I like Near. I scaled in to Near way back, and ultimately I'm waiting for a lot of the layer ones to get their moment. A lot of them haven't yet got their moment, so I'm waiting. Kaspa is getting its moments, up another 4% today, 23% for the week, guys. You know how bullish Kaspa is, obviously, from a price action perspective. Right now it's in that zone where, you know, it's looking a bit top heavy, so be careful. Obviously, even Tau, the same thing. I think that Tau should be taking a break any moment. It hit a good extension levels, so we're waiting for retracements across the board here from some of those top gainers. Stacks, part of the Bitcoin narrative, up 14% today, guys. Decent move to the upside. Guys, congrats if you're into Stacks, because this thing is moving, definitely. H-bar doing pretty good, at least in the week. It's up 11%, so that's decent. And as we scroll down, guys, you see a bit of sideways. The graph is waking up a little bit. That's not bad. I like the structure that the graph is building. Slowly making those nice peaks and valleys to the upside, which means that we're making higher highs and higher lows. The nice little trend to the upside is always good. BSV getting a nice pop to the upside, obviously based on the Bitcoin narrative. And Ordis, obviously, again, the ordinals, part of the Bitcoin narrative, should be doing well right now, and it is up approximately 7.5%. So pretty good. The market's looking good, but today is a Bitcoin day. That's the reality. We shift from Bitcoin, Ethereum to altcoins, back to Bitcoin, and the cycle continues. And right now we're seeing Bitcoin showing a bit of strength, guys. The market in general is looking pretty good. Even if Bitcoin goes good and you're in the right altcoins, you're definitely going to see some green. I know a lot of people, they say that when Bitcoin runs, altcoins don't really move because all the liquidity goes into Bitcoin. All the eyes go on Bitcoin, and Bitcoin runs up, and usually altcoins either take a dip or go sideways. However, guys, if you're in the right altcoins, they will follow Bitcoin. They will follow Bitcoin's lead. And in fact, they might even still outperform Bitcoin. So that's something that you got to understand. As a whole, the altcoin market is, not performing as well as Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a large cap project, the largest cap project out there, obviously. And at this point, when you see Bitcoin move the way it's moving, it's obviously going to show dominance over the market. So that's something really interesting. Guys, tonight at 7:30, we'll talk about the Bitcoin dominance, and we'll take a look at ETH. We'll take a look at Bitcoin again and make those comparisons to see what's going on in this market, because obviously at this current moment I am preparing for that altcoin season. Every time I see a potential opportunity that we could start that season, I'm getting involved, because ultimately that's where the gains are. Beam getting a nice bounce to the upside. I kind of like that. 5% to the upside is always healthy, and if we keep on going down, guys, pretty sideways throughout the market. Today's video is about Kava. Kava right now is up 2.6%. I like the structure. I liked where it is overall, big picture. It's getting a bit of strength right now, which is really good. But ultimately, we got to begin by looking at Bitcoin. I know you're here to talk about charts, so let's begin. Bitcoin doing its thing, guys. Now, right now, it is pushing up at about $45,500, guys. Really bullish. Yesterday, I did talk about the fact that, getting into a fish long has its risks. Why? Because we don't know with clarity, based on price action, where we're going to get rejected. If we are going to get rejected, we can obviously make a nice higher high and get to about $51,871. Guys, that would be absolutely fine for Bitcoin to do that. And I'm going to zoom out here in a second so we can look at this in a little bit more detail. So really what I'm afraid of is, in the short term, is that we respect this diagonal. And this diagonal will come into, basically will look important once we zoom out. But if we do respect the diagonal, we could get rejected right here at about 45,500. This yellow line right here. Why? Because we have this previous high. Could happen, right? We're breaking out. Maybe it's a liquidity grab. Maybe it's a quick pop to the upside where we, hunt for liquidity and we, trap people up and then we come down. Or we can even test these previous highs and double top and type of thing and kind of get a rejection. You can see that there's a volume gap right into here. We got to include more price action to kind of give the VPVR a little bit more value. So let's do that. Let's squeeze down this RSI a little bit so we can have more real estate and the MACD. Okay, and then you could see that once we start zooming out, and maybe we can get into the weekly so we can consolidate some of the noise on this chart. You can see that ultimately this is a nice megaphone pattern. Technically speaking, eventually this should get exhausted. It's very exhausting to keep up this type of bullish momentum, parabolic momentum. Okay, so you know, getting a retracement down is totally fine, totally acceptable. We can go sideways here in the distribution for the next little while. We could talk about wake-off distribution tonight in tonight's live stream, so feel free to join. But ultimately, it's the risk that I don't like. Now, I'm bullish on Bitcoin. The problem is that look at this run-up, guys. Look at this run-up. We have diagonal resistance. We have horizontal resistance. And ultimately, Bitcoin's up 200% plus from its bottom. So the reality is that Bitcoin already did well. And as we get closer to the top, we start to, you know, maybe we should start expecting a bit of a corrective move before we continue to the upside. I'm talking about healthy retracement, hitting about 32 and as low as 25 would still be okay, guys, if that were to happen. So for me, these two green arrows are areas that I'm looking out for. If we come down here, I'm buying the dip. If we come down here, I'm definitely buying the dip. But ultimately, I'm buying the dip on altcoins. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be looking for. And then next little while, I'm not getting into fresh longs on Bitcoin. We're very overbought here on the weekly. We're very overextended on the MACD on the weekly as well. So I'm not really crazy about it. And if you get back into the daily, you can see that we're getting that class A bearish divergence still. Nothing really has changed. Price action, in fact, at the current moment is fairly sideways after this whipsaw price action, straight up, straight down. And you can see that the RSI is still trekking to the downside and potentially looking for a full reset of momentum in oversold conditions. And in that case, we might get that dip and that corrective move to lower levels. So I'm going to be very patient here. There's no rush. Entries are already in on Bitcoin. My entries are already in on Bitcoin. If you're on the sidelines, it's a risky time to be looking for entries on Bitcoin. Personally speaking, obviously not financial advice, guys. Do your thing, do your research, use my analysis as confluence, because you got to understand that a lot of people got in at this level, on this back test, on this back test, on this breakout, and you get what I mean. So ultimately, we're getting to a place where it's likely that these individuals start taking profits and maybe we get a corrective move. Let's move on, guys. Today's video is about Kava. Let's take a look at Kava. Why I like Kava. It's all about this risk to reward. It's all about the risk to reward. Look at this scenario, okay, guys? So we do see that ultimately we came down, got a nice bounce, a nice V recovery. We went sideways and we started building a bit of volume into here. We noticed that we had a weak spot up here that kind of filled in just a little bit right at this level. You can see that over time, all this these spikes to the upside kind of, you know, basically filled in the volume gap. So let's push this over so we can kind of make sense of it. Now, to the downside, we fell below the volume gap. In fact, we hit the bottom of the volume gap and hit this green arrow. This was the time to take some risk, and obviously this green arrow was a decent time to take risk, but really this green arrow was the time to take risk at this level, given the fact that at this area we started getting bullish divergence in oversold conditions on the RSI on the daily. Horizontal support, previous low, last line in the sand, risk to reward ratio was absolutely healthy here as a double bottom. And then all of a sudden we get some follow through price action and we get oversold. Now we're coming down for a corrective move again. Now this correction could be a higher low. Higher lows are bullish. They're confirmations for the bull that ultimately this is the low. We come down, we make a higher low. We go up, we make a higher high. Higher lows, higher highs. The trend is your friend. We start looking for higher levels and higher level breakouts. Now, we did definitely get rejected here multiple times. And this is why the market had to come down and pick up some more bullish bids. The bulls that get picked up here now are going to be used as a strength for the momentum to actually break out of this horizontal resistance or even this horizontal resistance. What I really like about this, again, is about the risk to reward. So let me kind of remove this because this is no longer valid. If you kind of squeeze this over, you'll see there's not much, weak spot in here anymore. It kind of filled in. You could see a lot of price action here that could act as support for future price action. So really, this is done. Entry was still good right around this level. I'm going to move this over so we can make it a lot more relevant. This was a good area when we covered it before because we had the top of the volume gap and, that was a good bounce to the upside. And then we have the red arrows right here, de-risking based on previous price action and de-risking here based on volume gap scenarios and also some previous price action. You can see we had some lows right into here. And that would have been a great area to take profits based on this wick. The reality is that we've pretty much reset all the price action. We're pretty much at range lows again. Not absolute bottoms, but we're not bad of a scenario. When I look at this, what I really do see is the potential for this to become a confirmation low, a higher low. Because right now we're in a corrective move. You can see this, that we got class A bearish divergence, triple tops right there, 3 drives to the upside, while the momentum obviously got overbought and on the daily here and got that corrective move. Now, are we looking for support here for this last right shoulder? Multiple shoulders right in here. Could be a complex head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders for that matter. And then we make the right shoulder right into here. And this would be that confirmation, a higher low. We have the low, a higher low. Then we move up and make that higher high. Trend is your friend. We start moving to the upside. The best part about all of this, let me quickly look at this MACD before I tell you what the best part is, because obviously the MACD has a lot to do with the strength of the trend. And obviously right now we got EMAs to the upside. Green histogram bars obviously doing very well, showing us that potentially we can get into the bullish control zone any moment now. So Kava's doing pretty good today. It's up 2.5% give or take. And at the bottom of the range, the way we are, we could be looking for this back test and spring off this back test off of a decent retracement. Let's see what kind of retracement. Right here, we came down to the golden pocket. Is that enough? In a good, strong trend with a strong bull run narrative, yeah, golden pockets are, they come and they go. They don't hang around too much. In fact, a 0.382 retracement level is a healthy breather in a bull run, and a 30% corrective move, like on Bitcoin, translate to a decent dip on altcoins. So reality is this is still a good dip. Golden pocket 786. If we come down to the 886, if we make this a little bit more precise, maybe it might make a little bit more sense. Let's see. No, we're good. If we even come down to the 886, that's a great buy opportunity. So this whole zone right here seems to be a decent zone for risk taking. The golden pocket all the way down to the 786, 886, even down to the double bottom type of scenario. Okay, so this is the time to take risk. If you are, bullish, if you believe that the fact is that we're leading into a bull run, these are the type of scenarios that you should be looking for. Great risk to reward. So now finally, let's get into what I really like about this chart. Let's go back, let's zoom out a little bit. Maybe we'll get into the weekly just so that we can consolidate noise again, just to kind of show you exactly what I mean with the risk to reward. Look at all this volume. Look at all this market participation. We created a point of control there. A lot of people are scaling in. This is all volume interest, market participation that is interested. Accumulation right here at the bottom of the range with a great risk to reward ratio suggests that these individuals are preparing for a breakout out of these horizontals. The $1 psychological level, very round number, very psychological, very a strong resistance that could keep the price in this accumulation phase for a little longer, but ultimately that is the opportunity, right? That's the opportunity. You can see that the RSI on the weekly is slowly grinding to the upside while the price action is somewhat going sideways here. So that's class B bullish divergence, which is looking good. And the MACD looks a little bit indecisive at this current moment. We could come down for another little correction, but really we've been in the bearish control zone for a while here on the weekly, and all we really need is to see this thing get into the bullish control zone, and then it starts to run. So the reality is, from a big picture perspective, you're in a good spot, because let's get a setup here. If you get in at this current moment and you put your stop loss right underneath these lows, more or less, I know it's a 25% dip, but if you start looking at where this possible move could take you, even if we came to the next zone where it could be a resistance zone based on volume gap and market participation, I would say that this would be a safe bet to take a bit of profits, meaning, or to be protective, get defensive, trail up a stop loss, take 10% off the top, do your thing to protect your gains, because ultimately you want to be profitable. But look at the ratio. It's a 10-to-1 ratio once we start breaking out of this zone, because there's a lot of weakness here. Nothing in comparison to all this volume that is accumulating at this level. We could break right through with a lot of conviction and still hit the zone, and you would be up 267%. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to hold your entire position all the way to the top, because I know, it seems a little risky. If you make 100%, take half on the double. As soon as you double your money, take half on the double. That way you're in a risk-free trade, and let the rest run to the upside. Let the house money run to the upside, and then take profits right around this level. We could even break right through the volume gap and hit the nice round number of about $3. That's even very possible. So this is why once you start approaching this zone, I would be trailing up a stop loss. I would be taking 10% off the top. I'll be waiting for structure to suggest that we might be rolling over, maybe a nice bearish divergence or something like that for a bit of a corrective move, so you can scale back in on a 30% dip or something like that, and then continue to the upside. Kava right now has a lot to offer, given the fact that it's at the bottom of the range, waiting to get its opportunity. Guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, you know what you got to do. You got to slap that like button. It is videos really help out with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. And of course, I'm going to be live tonight at 7:30 Eastern, talking about crypto news and price action. Guys, join that Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.